One month, you're flush with cash. The next, you're wondering where it all went. Sound familiar? Irregular income is one of the biggest challenges for online business owners, but it doesn't have to be stressful. The key, smoothing out your cash flow so you always know where you stand without obsessing over every dollar. So in this episode, I'll break down the number one cash flow mistake most entrepreneurs make and how to fix it, a simple 3-step system to help you smooth out the highs and lows so you're never caught off guard, and why financial clarity leads to business confidence, and how to finally set sustainable income goals that actually work. So if you want to feel secure and in control of your finances, no matter what your income looks like this month, then this episode is for you. Welcome back to Freedom and Ease in Online Business. So let's talk about how to smooth out irregular cash flow without micromanaging your money. Because you know the cycle. 1 month, you feel rich. The next, you're wondering where all the money went. And because your income isn't predictable, it feels impossible to plan, to save, or to know what you can afford. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? Irregular income isn't actually the problem. The lack of a system is. And today I'm giving you a simple 3-step system that has been used over and over again by myself, my students, and my clients that will smooth out your cash flow without you needing to micromanage your money. Yay! And this is exactly how you create financial stability, even when your income fluctuates. So let's talk about the cash flow mistake that most entrepreneurs make, and that is mixing their personal and business finances, which leads to total and utter confusion. Because when money comes in, they spend it based on what's in their account, not on what they actually need. They'll often end up using personal savings to cover business expenses because, next month will be better. And they have no real plan for when to pay themselves, what to save, or when or how much to invest back into their business. And so this creates a cycle where you never feel financially stable, even when you're making decent money. But here's the thing. It's not about how much you make. It's about how you manage what you make. So let's fix this. Here's my 3-step system to keep your cash flow steady, no matter what's happening in your business. Step 1, you tally your weekly or monthly income and check whether you've got surplus or shortfall against your goal. So each week or month, you just take 5 minutes to add up all the money that came in. Compare it to what I call your baseline income figure, which is that amount of income your business needs to generate to cover its expenses, to pay you, and to cover its tax bill. So you compare what actually came in against that number. And this helps you see right away if you're running at a surplus or a shortfall. So then step 2 is if you're carrying outstanding shortfall from last week or month, you pay that back first. If you dipped into savings or used personal funds, pay that back first before allocating money anywhere else. If you didn't put enough tax money aside last month, pay that back and put the extra tax money in there now that you can. And this stops the cycle of always feeling like you're catching up. And it also stops the cycle of getting your tax bill and going, whoops, not enough money in the account. Because remember, by putting tax money aside as you go, you're not giving it away. You're not actually paying the tax department yet. You're just putting money aside so that when the time comes, you've got ideally more than enough. And let me tell you, that's a pretty damn awesome feeling. So then step 3 is sending any remaining surplus to your number one financial priority. So instead of letting extra money just sit there where it will magically just disappear, give it a job. So you always want to know what your number one financial priority is, and you can break that down into little micro goals. But you need to be clear, and every single surplus dollar goes to that. So there's no surprises. There's no second guessing. There's no, a little bit here, a little bit there. Oh, feels like I didn't really have any spare money. So Some examples of what your priorities might be. It could be that right now you're building a financial buffer so that if you have low months, they don't stress you out. It could be that right now you're investing any surplus in business growth. Maybe you need to hire some new support people or invest in courses, coaching, software. Or maybe it's about actually paying yourself a little bit more so that you can start paying off and reducing personal debts. At any given point in time, you should know what that number one financial priority is. You can break it down into micro goals. You can switch between different micro goals once one has been achieved. So it could be, yes, I'm just working on debt reduction for a while, but then I'm switching to building my buffer, and then I'm switching to investing in my business. But at any given point, it's just one thing. And then there is no second guessing. And so this system smooths out the highs and lows so that even if 1 month is lower, you've got a built-in buffer that keeps you stable, and you've got a system that brings you back on track. And overall, it's going to keep you smoothed out. The best part of this is it takes literally 5 minutes a week, because the best money systems are the ones that are easy to stick to. And one story that I can tell you here is when I first started my finance business back a very long time ago. It was the first time that I actually had a full-time business. I was on my own with 2 young children, and the pressure was on, and I had nothing else to fall back on. There was no partner, there was no job, there was just my business and the income it would generate. And I knew that my mindset and my money system were both going to be really important. So I promised myself that I would only panic if the last 6 months average looked worrisome. Actually allowed me to just consistently apply the system I've just outlined for you without going, oh no, it's a low month. What does that mean? It would take all the emotion out of it, and it allowed me to act with the system because I didn't fear it. I knew the system was helping me stay on track, and it absolutely worked. So let's talk about why having this financial clarity also helps you boost your business confidence. Because once you manage to smooth out this cash flow by just following these 3 simple steps, everything changes. Suddenly, you're not just guessing how much you might need, you actually know. And when you have financial clarity, you can set real, sustainable income targets instead of pulling random numbers out of thin air. You can also make sure that your pricing and your business model actually support the income level that you need. And that means that you can make rational business decisions instead of just reacting from fear or scarcity. See, when you stop running your business on guesswork, you can start running it with real confidence. And for that, you need clarity and a system. So, final words. Irregular income doesn't have to mean financial stress. It shouldn't, because being in business pretty much always comes with irregular income. But with a simple system in place, cash flow can become much more predictable and definitely stable, even if your month-to-month income isn't. And so if this episode gave you an aha moment, I would love you to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you're ready to ditch the financial roller coaster and create true stability, I have a really handy income target calculator that also helps you plan your pricing structure. And I'll pop the link to that in the show notes below. I have to connect with you on Instagram. So jump on over, find me at Miriam Castilla or at Freedom and Ease Academy and DM me. Let me know what is your biggest struggle with cash flow right now. And I'll see you in the next episode.